لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. Okay. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Hannah. I am a self-improvement coach, trauma coach, and content creator. I recorded this video, then I realized that I had put it on a time lapse by accident, and so the footage is just not there. So I'm re-recording it. I hope that you guys will watch it because this is taking a lot of time to fix. Then I realized that I had it plugged in my microphone. It's quite the day today. But today we're going to be talking about a topic that not a lot of people really know about when it comes to mental health, and that is functional depression. Now, functional depression is not a clinical term. Let me just clarify that. I do practice medicine. I am a PA, so this is why I'm going to harp on this a little bit. Let's get some definitions done and then we'll talk more, okay? So functional depression is the term that I use and that is kind of loosely used to describe someone who struggles with depression, who is also extremely high achieving. So they may not demonstrate the typical symptoms of depression that we see. So these are individuals who are still doing well at their job, achieving their goals, yet they are struggling with depression, specifically anhedonia, which is the prime symptom of depression, where someone loses their ability to experience joy. The things that used to make them happy and make them feel full and joyful are no longer doing that. That's functional depression. Depression in and of itself is a symptom. It is something you experience. Depression can be normal in certain circumstances, but when it's long-standing, it becomes a depressive disorder, right? This is now where we start thinking about major depressive or persistent depressive disorder, right? The mood disorders of that sort. So I'm just making the distinction for that reason. You're not going to find functional depression in the DSM-5, which is a manual they used to diagnose psychiatric disorders, but I wanted to talk about it because I made a TikTok video about how to cope with functional depression, and I was actually surprised at how many people resonated with this video and shared the experience. And I was just like, well, let's talk about it then, right? How do we cope with functional depression? So, as someone who has dealt with depression for over a decade, I'll tell you a bit of my story actually, if I haven't already. I experienced depression and anxiety for over a decade, really since I was a child. And I learned that those symptoms were due to trauma that I'd experienced. And I went on this long journey of healing where I, were trying different things and working on self-improvement. And I worked with experts and alhamdulillah finally found healing for myself. And then I created my company to be able to package that into content and services for you guys, for people who are either dealing with their own journeys of healing or who are just really wanting to revamp their life, reinvent themselves, and do God-conscious self-improvement in a way that leads you to a good akhirah, not just a good dunya. So that is kind of my story. Functional depression was a huge hallmark of my life, especially the later aspect of my depression. So when I was in college, I was very functionally depressed. And it's kind of hard when you think about functional depression because it doesn't look like depression. And so you're less likely to get the help that you need because people don't even recognize that you're depressed. So you're achieving what you want to achieve. You look like you're dying. I mean, I was doing very well in school. I was getting awards for the work that I was doing. I was doing a lot of community work. I was up publicly speaking. On the outside, everything looked great, but on the inside, everything was chaotic. So that's functional depression. How do you know if you have functional depression? How do you know specifically if you have it? You might know that you're depressed, but is it functional depression? And it's a pretty, honestly, simple assessment to do. One, are you still someone who you would consider high achieving? Right? Is your depression not actually really getting in the way of certain functioning, such as your ability to do well at school or at work? Is it not super getting in the way of you achieving your goals that you've set for yourself? Are you someone maybe who has a business or has a big project that you're working on and you're still able to complete those tasks, but you still have the anhedonia or that lack of joy? Maybe you are noticing your sleep is disturbed, but it's not so disturbed that you're in bed all day. You're still able to get up and do things. Maybe you're noticing that your appetite is thrown off. For some people dealing with depression, sometimes they stop eating. For some, they overeat, they emotionally eat. So if you meet those criteria, right, still high achieving, but still experiencing anhedonia and noticing differences in your sleep and your appetite as a response to your depression, then you're probably functionally depressed. Okay, functional depression doesn't sound too bad, right, when you think about it. And I will say, and I hope this doesn't sound callous, I mean, this was my experience for a very long time. If you're going to be depressed, I think functional depression is the best kind of depression you have, because it helps protect you from a lot of the losses that people who struggle with other types of depression might experience. You're not really likely to lose your job because you're still knocking those things out. It's just tormenting. That's the hard part of it. So how do you address functional depression? How do you cope with it? How do you heal it? How do you treat it? This is actually a good place for me to stop and mention a lot of functional depression for people is very much rooted in trauma. For if you are someone who finds that you struggle with functional depression as a result of maybe childhood trauma, where your worth as a child was linked to the amount of value you brought to your parents or to your home, or how good you made them look, or how much you got done, or what you accomplished, that is a trauma-induced functional depression. If you are looking to heal that and you're serious about healing that, I have a trauma group coaching program, which is a 10-week program. I'm extremely proud of it. It is, it's scientific in nature. It has a lot of Islamic principles. It's really good. It's been super transformative for the lives of my clients. If you're interested, link is below. Price-wise, the price is always going to be there. I'm very big about being price transparent. Let me just say this. As a coach, I hate when they don't tell you how much things cost. It's like, I don't want to waste my time on a call and then be slapped in the face with the price. So I am very price transparent. Prices will always be on my services, always there, right? If you're interested in something like that, you can book a 30-minute free discovery call. No pressure. I will never pressure you to join. If you are going to benefit from this and you believe that, then you will join. If not, that's fine. Pricing wise, it is less than the cost of therapy. So it's there if you're interested in that. If not, I would at least recommend that you sign up for my newsletter. You will get an ebook copy, a free ebook of my book, How to Heal Trauma, which goes through a lot of really awesome principles on healing trauma. Enough of that. Let's talk about how to heal functional depression. Okay, first off, you need to start off obviously recognizing you've done the assessment. You recognize that you have functional depression. The big aspect of functional depression that really leads it to cycle out of control is the burnout aspect. So that's the first thing that you need to address. So number one, to address the burnout aspect of functional depression, you need to start offloading responsibilities. I know this sounds terrifying. If you are someone who deals with functional depression, you probably link a lot of your self-worth to your achievement in the work that you do, and you will feel useless and dirty and just completely off base, letting go. But this is where you have to start the healing. It is time to start letting go of certain responsibilities. Sometimes it means stepping down from volunteer positions. Sometimes it means for asking less responsibility at work, or saying no to more things, or whatever it is. Everyone has things they can. Nobody is like completely responsible for everything in everyone else's life. You can start letting go of things, or start thinking about how to make things more efficient to lighten your load. That's number one. Number two is you need to prepare for what is about to hit you next, which is a whirlwind of emotions in a freak out mode that you're probably going to enter into. Because when you are someone who has linked their value and their coping to their ability to do all of these things for so long, when you start offloading that, now you have more time and you can start to feel very tense and nervous and anxious, and it can actually worsen your depression. But it's a dip that's going to go like this for you to come up. It is inevitable. You have to do it, because you need that freak out mode for your brain to realize, hey, it's actually okay if I'm not so productive all the time. And you need to start unpacking the types of things like that you believe about yourself. Do you really believe that you're not worth anything if you're not productive? Do you really believe that your value is so linked to how much you can produce in the world? Do you really believe that if you just stop doing the things and take care of yourself, that everything is going to fall apart in everyone's life because you're not there to save the day? You have to walk through that. I would highly recommend you start journaling or speaking to someone you trust in this part, because you need to start unpacking like all those feelings that are about to come up with someone who can tell you, hey, that's not true. Like, this is just a very distorted pattern of thinking that you're having that's making you feel this way. So that's number 2. Number 3 is you need to start doing the things that are going to promote your healing. So now it is time to take care of yourself and to really, instead of focusing on all the achievements that you do because you feel like they're productive or they make it, they serve your, whether it's your ego or just your achievements, you need to start doing the things that are going to serve your healing. So you need to focus on your nutrition, on revamping your sleep, on your fitness and your physical health. You need to start going to the doctors. A lot of functionally depression people don't want to go to the doctor, but guess what? You don't want to be hit with an autoimmune condition or something horrendous as a result of you going for so long and not know about it. You need to start doing things that are just like going to fill you. So I'll give you my personal example, right? I was, oh my Lord, functional depression to the max. Okay. And I did this especially for a very long time. And when I finally took the time to step back and just be like, I need to stop all this that I'm doing. When I say freak out mode, I mean, I was like distraught at how much free time that I had, which is really crazy when you think about it. Like, why was I so freaked out over having free time? But I'd been doing so much for so long that having that free time was very scary for me. And I journaled a lot during this time. I was trying my best to reconnect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and make a lot of dua. I would talk to, someone I really trusted about this. And it was slowly but surely that I was kind of unlearning the ideas that I had, the beliefs that I had around this. Then I started doing things that were just focused on healing. I'd go to the park. I would go to on walks. I would treat myself to a lunch or, treat myself to something. I would go get massages. I would just watch something for the sake of watching and just enjoying, not learning, because that was another thing. I would consume information, which I am a self-improvement coach. Conscious consumption is very important, but that's all that I consumed. It was like, if it wasn't benefiting me, I don't want to watch it. I was like, no, let me watch something just for the sake of entertainment. Okay, so that was my journey with that. What's the next thing you do? So we talked about offloading responsibility, going through your freak out mode, starting to do things that are going to heal. The next thing is you will notice that you probably are going to feel very tired all of a sudden. Don't be shocked when you start experiencing that. Think about it this time. You have been running for so long on empty. You're on empty. And all of a sudden your body and brain finally get a chance to stop and be like, whoa, we actually don't have a lot of energy anymore. You've been running on adrenaline for so long, more than likely, trying to get through your depression. Like, your body needs energy from somewhere. So if it's not getting it naturally because you're depressed, it's going to fuel you through adrenaline. And adrenaline is great, but it's supposed to be used for short term, not long term. So if you've been using it for a very long time and your body no longer needs it, you are going to feel a crash in your energy levels, and you're going to feel very tired. So what do you do? Well, hey, what's next? You rest. And I don't just mean sleep, but yeah, if you are feeling extremely tired, you feel tired. If you can avoid it, don't worry about planning out the next 5 years of your life. Don't say no to more things. Say no to more things. If people are asking you to go somewhere and you can get out of it and you don't want to go, then don't go, right? If friends are, hey, let's go out to dinner, just say, hey, I really need to rest today. Don't put yourself in situations as much as possible where your energy is going to be drained. And I know that some things you just can't avoid, especially, in a lot of our cultures and even religiously, we have certain family obligation, things like that might be hard to get out of. I'm not trying to be dismissive of that. That's why I'm saying, like, if you can really do push yourself, let yourself rest. There's so much more that I can say about this, but to avoid making this video an hour long, I'm going to stop here. Guys, I hope you found this video helpful. If you are someone who deals with functional depression, please comment below. Let other people know that they're not alone in this. And please like this video, subscribe for more. If you're interested in the Healing Trauma Program, go ahead and check that information out. And the next cohort is starting. The application is open at this time, so you don't want to miss it. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you for watching. Bye.